Hey, hey everybody. Uh, as you see, I'm in my wheelchair. There's one of the things that I enjoy doing is developing new ideas for people, um, as far as how to get around on their canes and on the wheelchairs. And I've been in a wheelchair in and out for about 6 months now. I can walk very short distances, maybe around in the classroom with a cane. My knee has given out. My feet are totally numb. It happened from an accident a long time ago. Someday I'm going to try and make a video about that, showing exactly what happened. Nevertheless, I want to show you how to put a headlight, some kind of light so you can get around at nighttime outside. Sometimes you can't get in a handicap parking spot, and sometimes the parking lots are kind of not so lit up, and we're so low to the ground that not too many people actually see us. So we need to be illuminated somehow. I'm going to figure out how to put lights on the wheels. I've taken, I don't like these handles because it restricts me as far as getting to the wheels to move the wheels around. So I actually undid the pin on both sides, and I pulled this thing out, and it's useless to me. I'm setting it aside, and I'm going to put a headlight for my old bicycle, my 18 speed that I used to ride around, and it's a really monstrous. This thing, this is one of those night riders, lighting systems. Really, really bright. And I bought this back in '91. And look at this. It's some kind of light. I didn't even shine it to you. I shined it over there, and you saw how bright it was. So I went to Giant last night, and I had this first behind me, but it fell between the seat and the back. And then I actually tuck it down inside my jacket. Had this on my side with a bungee cord, and people were watching. It was pretty impressive. So what I want to do now, since I have these holes, let me back up a little bit so you can see. I have these holes here, and there's a hole back here where the handle went in. So I'm going to first we're going to put a headlight here. I'm going to show you how to do that, to where you can move it in and out of the way using that hole. And if you don't have a hole, you might have to actually put a clamp or something and clamp it onto where your handle is if you really want the handle to be there. I rest my hands like this. I hate the thing that's up here, so my hands go down like this. So you want to make sure that your brake is not in the way of the brake. So the pin that's going to go through might have to be a screw with a butterfly on the side. What I'm going to do is have another camera down here when I'm doing this, so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So here's what I've come up with. All right. I have a pole from Old Gazebo. You've seen this before when I worked on a trailer, fixing the awning on a trailer, if you watch that video. And this pole fits kind of nice, a little loose in there, and that's where some electric tape's going to come in. That's where some electric tape's going to come in to tighten that up. This is the part that I don't want turning around. I want this to be sturdy in there, solid in there. It's not in the way of the brakes, and it's not in the way of me doing this kind of thing, even with the light fixture being there. So on top of this, I'm going to cut this down. On top of this now, these are all parts that were in my garage. So you look around your garage. This is a big weatherproofing PVC pipe. I'm not sure exactly what the terminology is for this, but it's one of those types that can handle the weather. If you jam this down real good, it's tight. It could be moved around. So the idea of this being down here, in there, the light being up here, it'll be down here by the time I'm done. But you need to make sure that whatever clamp we have for the light is going to fit on this. I'm really hoping it does. I actually took it up on this side and slid this on, and once I open it up, it's going to go on just fine. So if you have a different lighting system like this, you need to find the rail for it, and you can put it right on. This has self-contained batteries, where I have to figure out where this battery pack's going to be. Hopefully underneath my seat or in the back of my seat. I have a sign on the back of my seat. I'm having it actually made to where it'll be more permanent, addicted to kindness, and that's my slogan. All right, so I need to cut this down to length, put this on, and put a pin through this, and hook up the light, and I'm going to show you what it looks like in just a moment. Okay, So I'll be right back. Now, what I want to do is I want to find out just how high I want this to be. I'm going to end up cutting this part off on this. I don't need that big piece, the coupling. I don't need on there. And I don't know what would it be an advantage for me having it down there? It might. You know, I could probably just use it like that without cutting that at all. That might actually work. All right, so my thing will be right there. So I'm going to take this down, put it on the ground, and that's still too high from where this gets to where you can see my tops right here. So so sitting in there, I need to figure out just where I'm going to have this. All right. So what I'm going to do is right here, I'm going to put my finger. I'm going to pull this off, and that's how much I need on top. So I'm going to take that, and I'm going to come down on the bottom. I'm not doing an exact measurement. It's just my finger. We need at least that on top. Okay. So I'm going to kind of hold that, and we're thinking the pipe comes up about here. So we need this. I want it to be up above my leg, because if I get a better cushion for my chair, this thing, I don't know, I want to get a gel cushion someday. It might bring me higher, and I won't have to replace the pipe. So I'm going to have this up around here, and then that way it can pivot out of the way when I go through the door or something. Or even I can have it right over me, and over there. If I lean forward when I'm wheeling, when I'm moving and I'm going forward, it'll be right in front of me. So that's a cool idea to have that and then have it swing away, or if you want to shine over there, something like that. So I think this is going to be good. So I'm going to score it with a pen, because this is where I'm going to cut. Now it might be a smidget higher or low, but that doesn't really matter. So right about there, so I marked it, and that's where I'm going to take a hacksaw to cut this. All right, now what I did is I cut along here, and it's not a perfect straight cut at all, but I did file down. I used my file for the chainsaw. When I sharpen chainsaw chains, I use the file on that. So it's a flat file, and make it to where it's not so sharp. But I'm going to put this down so the dull side is up. It's the old end side. So I'm going to put that down there. I'm showing you this for a reason, because right here is a hole, and on the other side is a hole. So we need to stick something in there. Have this all the way down as far as it can go. All right, and then take your marker and put a dot there, and on the other side that you can't see, there's another hole, and put a dot there. I kind of put a cross in there so I know the center of the cross is where I'm going to drill the hole. So you're going to take this back out, use the drill, and drill a hole. Drill the hole one on each side. Don't drill all the way through, because you don't know where it's going to come out. So drill one on each side of the hole, on both sides. So the screw, whatever screw size you're going to use, and it can't be any bigger than this. So you might want to bring your screws in and make sure that it's going to go through these holes first. So we want to. What the idea is to put a screw there with a butterfly nut. So you can, if you ever want to take this off, you just unscrew the butterfly nut, and you go on, what I call on the fly. All right, it's gone. It's gone. So you don't need it. And you don't want the light on 24/7, because during the daytime you don't need it. If you go to parties, you go to events, you don't need it. So that's the idea for that. Well, I found a kind of a small one, but it fits with a butterfly and on a kind of long, what I call a long shaft. A lot of threads to go over, so I might want to cut it down later on. There is a right way to cut down screws, or bolts actually. This is a bolt, not a screw, because it's not screwing into wood. So it's not a pointed end, it's a bolt. So it's relatively smaller than the hole that's in there. But if you look, it's kind of a round oval hole here, and a square hole on this side. You don't want to drill these out, because eventually, if you don't need this wheelchair any longer, you can probably sell it and put the handlebars right back in. So you don't want to deface this at all. So as long as you have one that fits all the way through, it's going to have a lot of play, but it tightens down, and you're fine. And the head actually doesn't go through the hole on the other side, because you can always put a washer there too if you need to. So now I'm ready to actually drill my hole into the pipe. So I want to make the hole the same size as this, to where it goes through nice and snug. And then as I wrap it with electric tape, or whatever tape I use to make it snug in there, I want to cut the holes into electric tape so I can get the screw all the way through. So remember, drill on each side of the pipe, not all the way through the pipe, because this happened before where I drill all the way through the pipe and it's off on the angles. We already made the marks, drill on the marks. All right. Well, I had to tap both sides in order to get the drill bit to stay. I went just a little bit bigger than what this is, so I have some, some room to get through. Now the moment of truth. Go ahead and you can look down inside of it and guide it through, and it goes all the way through. There's going to be a lot of play. We're going to fix that next. All right. If your tube does have a lot of play, if it's snug, hey, great. If it's got a lot of play, I'm going to show you how to do that on a non-permanent basis. And that's what we want to do, is something that we can actually, when we don't want this, we pull this out, pull it out, and it's gone. That's the whole purpose of not making it something permanent. Here's a little helpful idea. As you go over the hole, go ahead and do your cross cut. All right, so as we go over this hole, all right, we're going to cover it up. We know where the hole is. The hole's right there. We're going to do our cross cut in it. So when we cover it again, we're going to do it again. Every time we cover up the hole, and you can see the indent right there, a cross cut on the layer. All right, that way it's not, you're not looking for the hole. You know where it is all the time, and you'll be able to get the screw through when you do a cross cut. All right, so don't put too much on it, because it's harder to take off and easier to put on. All right. And as I was telling you about the cross cut, it didn't like all the layers, so I had to cut back. So it's a lot harder to cut back. Now look at the cross cuts and line them up with the hole going down. So you need to really press down to get it, and then you're going to have to push this through. And we should be on the crosses, and that might be a little difficult to do. I'm on there. I don't see it here. And there might be a certain way. Let me make sure I can get in that. Okay, we're there. We're there. Let me turn it around. There might be a certain way that I cut it to where it has to be turned around. So that's fine. Okay, we're in on this side. We're on this side. Okay, we go ahead and put our butterfly nut on. Spin it on all the way down. And again, if you want to shorten that, there is a way to do that. And if you ask, I'll go ahead and make the video for it. Alright, so now there's not very much, there's play going back and forth, but hopefully if we can tighten this down some more, there shouldn't be any play at all.
It's a little cold outside to be working, but hey, I think it's done. It rotates, it's steady down there. There's not that much play in it at all, so not as much as before the electric tape was in. So it was a lot of fun putting this on here, because I couldn't put the rubber piece that's normally on the inside that stops it from going around. All right, so it's as tight as it can on this. And the thing is to actually aim it when you're outside, to do your aiming. You don't want to blind people if you have a light this bright. This is I just can't believe I bought this in 1991. Here it is a month before 2014. And it's still a good strong battery. It's just you don't see batteries like that anymore. So I just have to find a place to stow this. As Velcro on this side, and then I could probably get some Velcro to go on the back to hang on to a pipe underneath here, so it can be removed. So I don't think it's very slim to none that you're going to have a battery like this at all. Most lights are just going to be one fixture on top. So hopefully you like this video. It's going to come in handy, I think. It's out of the way. I think even if I lean forward to get some momentum going on the wheel, I'm not going to hit it. And the nice thing is, it's not in the way of a door that's coming around. You can still converse. You might get some people looking at you, complimenting, hey, where'd you find that out? Hey, point them to my YouTube channel.